Oh, 99.5 FM. If you're watching on social media, feel free to share this out. I'm going to kick this on the FM, and we're going to have some fun today. Here we go. Good morning. It's just after 9 o'clock. It is a beautiful day outside. I'm excited because we got Grant in studio. Grant, how are you doing today?
Doing amazing, man. How are you?
Hey, thank you for coming in. So I saw an article, reached out to you,
Right.
and you're jumping on ready to go.
Ready to go.
Are you always ready?
Always ready, man. Always ready. Got to stay ready.
Okay. So introduce yourself, share the company that you have, and then what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So first off, thanks for having me on. My name's Grant Mitterlehner. Originally from Houston, Texas. I have a company named MidGroup, and we're a residential and commercial solar company, headquartered out of Houston. We're actually all in right now every major city in the state of Texas right now. We're really focusing on growing a bunch, but we essentially just do solar installs for people all over Texas, and help people save money on their utility bills. And I guess everyone around here experienced the crazy storm that just happened, and I actually got stuck in Austin, but sideways snow and cold weather and everything like that. So it's pretty cool. We had a lot of people that we've done business with and helped, and they had power the entire time.
That's what I was going to say, because I had some neighbors in a Facebook neighborhood group say that they were actually sending power back. They had their batteries charged at their house, sending power back to the grid. I don't understand how it all works, but all I know is they had power.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's super cool. So there's two ways to kind of do it as far as solar goes. So if you have a battery, all that power that you're overproducing through the day, it goes in the battery. Next thing you know, anytime you need it, if we have a crazy blizzard in Houston, which probably won't happen for another 20, 30 years, hopefully, but it'd power the entire home. You'd have power just like you normally would. Even if you didn't have a battery, what's cool is a beautiful day like today, you overproduce a heck of a lot more power than you need. So it actually goes back onto the grid, and they actually buy it back from you. So I have buddies and friends and people that we've helped that they've gone solar, and they literally look at their utility bill and see negative $50, negative $20. And so it's crazy to even think about because how much utility bills are here, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw someone say that they were producing enough energy to power 6 houses on the street.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they said. And they powered, their batteries are charged, sending it back to the grid. Yeah. And they're really helping because, everybody in Galveston County, I think it was 95% of people were without power.
Oh, yeah. It was
crazy.
It's something. It felt like, in a way, we've all been through hurricanes down here. And, hurricanes, you end up evacuating, or you come back, and, the first, week or so is just everything shut down, and everything's, it's hard to get stuff. It felt like that, but just super cold, and it was the craziest thing. 70-80% of our employees all had no power, had nothing, was just stuck. It was just crazy.
How about the affordableness of this? It's an investment.
Absolutely.
You're paying something up front and then you save money. How does that work?
Yeah, so before I got into solar, when I was out in California, I saw it everywhere, and I was like, man, this has to be, those Hollywood people that are just super rich and want to help the environment. And that's what I assumed it would be. But it was interesting. Now it's become so affordable, and, middle-class America, there's not a person that owns a home that's going to stay in it more than 5 years that shouldn't be getting solar, because it makes legitimate sense. And what's cool is the government's paying for 26% of it. So people are getting 7 to 10 grand back for going solar. There's no money up front, and the payment for solar is actually less than what you're paying for the utility bill. So what's cool is literally the savings you're getting from your utility bill is paying for the entire investment. It's not affecting your budget. And then what happens is people pay the system off in 5 to 6 years, and they're done. Forever, people can pay off their homes, they can pay off their cars, but they can't pay off their power. And they're always going to pay for the utility bill because it's hot as heck in Texas, and you need your lights, you need your AC. So what's cool is it gives people an opportunity to pay everything off and own their power, and get paid for it a little bit too.
What does it do to the resale value of a home? Let's say someone's at a house for 10 years, and then they're outfitted for solar. Is that something that they have to leave there? Could they take a portion with them?
Yeah, so you own it. So you could absolutely take it to the next house. I usually recommend, so I've seen this firsthand just with people we've helped, and then just all over the country. It typically adds anywhere from about $15,000 to $25,000 of equity. It depends neighborhood to neighborhood, but it adds a considerable amount of equity to your home. And what's cool in Texas, so different states aren't like this, but it actually not only does it increase your home's value, but because it's an attachment and something that you can actually move, it doesn't increase your property taxes on the way up. So if your home's worth 300 grand, now it's worth 330, you're still going to pay property taxes on your 300 grand home value, and you can absolutely resell it. Because, and often what we say is that it ends up helping people sell the home faster because you're walking in and they have no bill, you know? So it works out pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of work backwards. I saw that y'all were named one of the best places to work.
Yep.
I mean, okay, so what does that mean to you? Where y'all have an office in Houston, you have other offices, and I guess how many people do you have working for you?
Yeah, so we have about, I think, 25 people right now, primarily most sales, and then we have some back-end operations, finance, my admin, stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, so we're in Houston, Austin, and Dallas right now. We're growing fast, and as far as like the best places to work, that was done by the Houston Business Journal, so shout out to those guys. So that was a really big honor. What's cool about that is it's not something that I can't like make a phone call or know someone inside to get that one.
Yeah.
What's cool about that is it's, we got nominated. Someone nominated us, which is cool. And they actually send a direct survey to every single one of my employees. And I don't get to fill it out. I wish I could have. Maybe it'll give us a better rating. No, but in all seriousness, so they send it out to all of our employees. And what's cool is, I mean, you're at the mercy of whatever they say.
Right.
So I don't get to see like, oh, he said this, she said this. If they say good things, they say good things. If they say bad things, they say bad things. And so it was feedback from the company. And so we got a really, really good rating, which is awesome because I work with really, really great, talented people. And so we're able to get on it. It's really cool.
Why do you think people enjoy working with you and for you so much?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I think the best thing is like we try to create a culture where, where there's no bureaucracy in the organization. I mean, man, I can imagine everyone. There's so many people listening, people that we talk to, that they're in these companies, and no matter how good they are, no matter how long they've been doing it and everything, you got to know someone to move up. It's very political. Yeah. There's a lot of just stuff involved. We have like a leadership program that's involved in the company where you can literally organically move up within the company into leadership roles, even an executive, fully metric based and move up just by like your merit, like what you're actually producing in the company, what you're bringing, how you're helping people, all that good stuff. And so doing things like that and paying people as high as we possibly can in the market, and just creating a competitive culture and protecting the people we come in, meaning that we make sure the right people, when we're hiring someone, we make sure that they're the right fit. I could care less about your talent. There's a lot of talented people out there. It's about who you are as a person and the type of culture you create. So I think just protecting that and having a really core group of guys and girls, it helps, and it kind of builds off each other.
Okay, that's awesome. So how long have you been having and operating as the MittGroup?
So we have been fully operational since I think February 2020. Prior to that, I'd been in the solar industry for about 2.5 years or so. Like I said, we started MidGroup right before the pandemic hit, which was a crazy timing.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, made the jump and started the organization, and I think like a few weeks right after we started, we got like the stay-at-home lockdown order. I was like, oh Lord.
So what did that do to the business? A brand new one.
Well, to be honest, I was scared. I was as scared as I could be because I was like, holy cow. So the time I decided to start a company, this happens.
Right,
perfect timing, right? But no, it ended up working good. So we had to change like some of our operational stuff. Like we couldn't be in office. Primarily at the time, 100% of our appointments were either out of business or in someone's home, actually working directly with consumers. And a lot of that was changed because a lot of people didn't want to meet in person because, the COVID situation, right? And so with that, we just got creative. We did more Zoom appointments. We did more phone call appointments. We'd meet in person when we could. And I think weirdly, it ended up helping the business because all these people during the day would be at work. And the majority of people, I mean, the people that got hurt the most, and freaking, man, God bless them, is the waiters and stuff like that. They had nothing. They were just out of control, right? They couldn't control what was happening. But for a lot of people, they were working from home. They were still making income for the most part, but now they're home and they're sitting there thinking about what they can do to the house and how they want to save money and everything like that. And so I think solar kind of went hand in hand with it. And I think, I mean, there's no way to tell for sure, but I do think it helped the industry as a whole. We just had to be a little bit more creative.
Okay. And can we talk about, I guess, your background? So where are you from? Where'd you grow up? And then I know you went to college.
Yeah.
And then talk how you got there.
Yeah, sure. So from Houston, Texas, I went to school in Clear Lake High School and Dickinson High School. I graduated from Dickinson. Played football, so sports was really big. And ended up going to play college football at Long Beach City College.
What position did you play? You got to be pretty good to go playing college.
I played quarterback. Yeah.
Okay.
So played quarterback. Went to Long Beach City College just outside of L.A. Was out there for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then got a full. That was like smaller. They don't pay for everything, but in New York it was like a full scholarship, and so it was a school outside of Brooklyn, and so did that for about 3.5, 4 years total, playing football, and so it was cool. You know, I got to live out in L.A. and I got to live in New York, and so it was crazy cool experiences.
Yeah, while you were there, were you taking school seriously? Was it more like I want to play football, I'm going to have fun, or I'm going to study and learn? And I guess what were you studying?
Yeah, so I mean, I was going for business, but I mean, I was there for football. I've always been pretty entrepreneurial. A degree for me, and I hate to say this, but it was just like something I felt like, you know, I promised my mom, I was like, man, I'll get a degree. Right. You know, it was just kind of one of those things. I was always, so like when I first got to California, I immediately got into sales, and I started, because I redshirted my first year, and I was just full hands-on, focusing on sales and focusing on everything like that. And I was just learning a lot. You know, school, if I'm being honest, I did what I needed to do to get A's and B's and maybe a few C's and make sure I got a solid GPA. But I was more so focused on just like developing my skills in business and in sales and in leadership and focusing on football, because the thing I kind of picked up quickly was, you know, I was going to learn a heck of a lot more by figuring out like who's really making the biggest moves in the world. And like what's cool is I mention this all the time, I think it was in the article actually, is, you know, we have the power and the knowledge of now the best minds in the world literally in the palm of our hands with our phones. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because you've seen all these things with investing and everything like that. There's now a phrase, the retail investor, and that's the normal person, everyday person, not a guy on Wall Street or anything like that. Same thing for anybody starting a company. You have all the access and knowledge that you could ever need on the internet, which is crazy. And it's starting to level the playing field. And so just when I was out there a ton, it was a big growth stage for me. There's a lot of great times, a lot of stressful times. But it gave me an opportunity to really focus on developing and harnessing skills. So I knew eventually, you know, a time would come where, you know, I could go all out in business.
Did you want to own your own business, like even in high school? Like
yeah.
The idea was to own?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, in high school, I was flipping Jordans and shoes and selling stuff online and doing all types of stuff. So, yeah, I think it was just pretty instinctive to you know, to want to own my own business. The hardest part was, you know, when you want to do that, you're like, man, but what do I want to do? Like, I feel like everything's been invented already. Like, how am I going to invent something? I'm like, man, I'm not a Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. Like, I don't have a mind like that. But I know I was a good leader. I was naturally pretty solid at sales, and I feel like I had a good vision and everything like that. So I knew the thing I always told myself was, man, like, it'll come. It'll come. The opportunity will come. The idea will come. The situation will come. Just got to stay ready for it. So,
speaking of sneakers, did you see that story that came out about the GM?
Yeah.
And I think Herbert or something, her son Joe was a sneaker reseller online.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see that?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, crazy amounts, you know, $200,000 here, profiting, you know, 20, 40 grand, and then taking those pictures, and he released, how it broke, he kind of tattled on himself, and then his mom asked I mean, that's wrong. It's wrong because, like, I mean, on the sneakers app and all that stuff, nobody can get a.
So what was the mom just giving him the hookup basically?
So he knew some inside information, like when sneakers were going to drop on their sneakers app, on the Nike or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he was also using her credit card, so her credit limit.
No, so she was using that as a line of credit and then flipping it.
Yeah, his mom's name as a line of credit. And then he would get the inside info, like, okay, it's going to drop. Because sometimes they'll do, like, these sneak drops or whatever. Yeah. But he was using bots. He would go on a Discord and tell people, like, hey, you know, 15 friends get into that way. They would clean out everything. But he had the inside info. His mom's credit limit.
Wow.
Who just happens to be the GM of Nike North America, like a whole continent.
Oh, my gosh.
So she resigned. I don't know, like the legalities of everything, but it seems wrong.
Yeah, it does seem wrong. The kid's pretty smart.
I guess so, right?
Super smart as a kid.
19.
I feel horrible for the mom. I mean, she had to resign. I mean, yeah.
25 years at Nike.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He got some cool shoes, though.
Definitely got some cool shoes. Yeah.
Okay. So you were in California, ended up going out into New York, had a better scholarship offer.
Yeah.
Were you able to focus on school more? Did you say, hey, I still want to do sales? What happened?
So when I was in New York, the workload of football in school was just way more for whatever reason, just the way that they ran things there, which I guess is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So where I was able to work in California and sales and all that kind of stuff, I wasn't able to there in New York. And so I remember, I think I talked about this in the story. I was in, if you know anything about New York, you know that their apartments and dorm rooms it's like a shoebox.
It's tiny.
Super tiny.
Right.
And I don't even know the exact measurements, but super, super small for one person. I mean, just tiny. Like if you take like a small kitchen, like a tiny, tiny kitchen, and put like bunk beds and then one main big bed, and I had a 6'8", 320 lineman. They ended up going D1. And
awesome.
Then this other running back. So it was all three of us just tight. I mean, we'd have to like squish.
You had one room?
One room.
Okay.
All three of us together. We had to squish through. And it was a crazy experience. But yeah, I was focusing on school. But what I kind of started doing is, I'll be honest, I was super stressed when I was there because I was trying to figure out what to do with football and what to do with the career. And at that point, I was like almost 22. Let me think. 21, about to be 22 years old, I believe. And I talked about this in the Business Insider article is, what I started doing is I was always listening to people online and stuff about like entrepreneurship, business, sales, just different stuff, trying to figure out like what I want to do. And it's weird because I'd always pass by this like Barnes and Noble, and I kept hearing like all these really, really successful people, they were just readers. And it was weird. Like not people only that you think like, okay, that guy for sure reads.
Yeah.
But like I even heard like Lil Wayne's a huge reader, and like Jay-Z, and like all these different people from all these different industries. Obama, when he was in the White House, that was something that helped him get through. Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, all these people that were just world leaders, changers, they were heavy, heavy readers. And I was like, what the heck? You know, what's the difference between like me listening to a recording or something versus reading? And there's all these crazy studies that what it does to your brain if you're actually reading it is completely different than just listening to something. And it's crazy. And so what I did is I was super, super broke. I tell about in this story. I'm super honest about it. And was a broke college kid. And what I would do is I'd go into Barnes & Noble. They had a little cafe area, like a Starbucks or something like that. And I'd go in the business section and I'd find books that I thought would be interesting or I thought I would like. Now, if you know me, I'm the most ADD, ADHD person in the world. And so I cannot sit still. And I always say, I hate reading, right? So what I did is I was like, let's not work against that. What I'll do is I'll read for 15 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes, like 20 pages, like have a target, right? And then as soon as I hit that 30 pages or 20 pages, I'm stopping and I'm taking like a 15-minute break. I'm getting on Instagram, getting on Facebook, whatever, like relaxing, just taking a break because I knew I was such a spaz I couldn't keep focus on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'd get like 3-4 books and I would just kind of slowly rotate it. And there's this book I read called The Compound Effect, and it's an awesome, like, you know, to the point book about, you know, like how to really move up and be successful. And it's not raw motivational, which I'm not really into. It's just practical steps to really move up. And what it kind of talked about is like the small daily actions you do every day. So like, for example, if you have a 30-minute commute to work every day, instead of listening to music the entire time, for just 10 minutes, listen to an audiobook, listen to something that's going to really help you in your business. Just 10 minutes a day. Just do this for like a small period of time. And over a 3-4 month period, you typically don't see a ton of results. But what happens is those actions slowly compound. And while that other person wasn't reading anything at all, yeah, they didn't read 15 pages a day, but you read only 15 pages every single day. By the time a year or 2, 3 years pass, you've accumulated a lot of knowledge. You're a completely different person. You're well-versed. You know all this different stuff. And you didn't just work your butt off and do all this extra stuff. You actually kept it simple. You just only did little things right over and over again. So that's kind of what I started to do. And what I started noticing is about 6 to 10 months later, I noticed I was carrying myself a little bit different. I noticed people kind of started treating me a little bit different. I noticed I was getting more and more and more creative. I started trying to do this and starting this and doing these things. And I noticed all my football coaches going, man, like, dude, you're going to do really well in business. And I wasn't even talking. It was the weirdest thing. Like, I don't know if they sensed it. I don't know if it's the way I have no idea. I have no clue. I wish I could tell you. But it started to really pay off. And so I think that's what it kind of started guiding me in the right direction. So by the time I got back to Houston, I was ready to go.
Okay. Wow. That's pretty cool. I like that. Was there a book that was so good that you scrounged up the money, being a broke college kid, as you said, to buy it, or you went back later and said, I just need to have a copy of this?
Yeah, Think and Grow Rich. Yeah, by Napoleon Hill. So I tell everybody, if you, before you learn anything, before you figure out, like, let's say you're trying to figure out where you want to go to school, what career path you want to do. Before you do any of that, you got to teach your brain how to think. About all the different things they teach you in school, they've never taught us how to think. It is unbelievably hard to control your brain. So hard. I mean, I have to work on this every single day. That's how hard it is, because I know I'm not good enough to just work hard and do random stuff. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so Think and Grow Rich, it teaches you how to properly think the right way. And if you learn how to think the right way and how to control this however many year-old brain that we have, then you can learn how to organize it and kind of get it to go in the direction that you want to go. Then if you want to become an engineer, then if you want to be in sales, then if you want to be an entrepreneur, then if you want to be this, you now know how to think and process things the right way to give you the best chance to succeed.
When you say learn how to think, you mean like organize your brain, or what do you mean?
Yeah, so like the way to process things. So I can go in so many different directions with it. So like the way to think think about this. So our human brain is meant to do one thing, and it's to survive. So if you think about it, me and Gardy don't have to go fight off a saber-tooth tiger to survive and bring food back to the village anymore, right? If me and Gardy want food after this, we can go get some Mickey D's. We'll have it in 10 minutes from now, right? We can go to H-E-B. We don't have to go hunt for something. We have a steak. We can grill it. We're already going to have it, right? So because that's the difference, your brain is still like, oh, Gardy, I got to survive. I got to survive. I got to survive. So to a tiger, your brain starts worrying about, oh man, what if I don't make rent? Oh, what if I lose my job? Oh, what if my girlfriend breaks up with me? You know, it just worries really bad. Like, let's say you're like, man, Grant, I really want this F-150. I've been thinking about getting it. I really want this pair of sneakers. I really want to go on this trip. You notice, like, right after you have that conversation, what ends up happening is everywhere you go, you see it. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't go, you thought nobody had this one type of F-150. You find out everyone has them for some reason, right? Or this shoe is everywhere, right? And what it is it was probably there just as much as it was before, but your brain, you've told your subconscious to focus on it, and now it's just filtering and picking it up. It was all there before. Now you're just showing and telling your brain to pick it up and actually view it and see things that way. So it's the same thing in life. You got to control your brain and teach your brain what you want it to focus on. And it is so dang smart, I promise you. And it's unbelievable what you can actually do, your brain, what like the true power of it when you get it to focus on the right things.
So is that a book that you read in New York? Did
Absolutely.
You find that one in New York?
Yep. First time. And I would read it like, I mean, honestly, I like listen to it or read it almost every week. Just continually.
Really?
Just over and over again. Yeah, because I'm not good enough, man, to just show up. Like, hopefully some of you guys are to listen, but I know I'm not. Like, I wish I could tell you guys I just work hard and I just really spin around in circles and hope that everything's more. You have to have calculation and you got to have strategy with everything you do, or you get beat. I mean, it's too competitive.
Have you always been, I guess, motivated, a self-motivated person, like even from a young age?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think sports kind of goes hand in hand with that. That's why I think sports is such good for life and business, because you learn how to be on a team, you learn how to compete, you learn how to deal with failure. Being a quarterback, I mean, obviously I didn't make the NFL or anything like that, but I was Dickinson Gator quarterback, right? That's a tough place to play quarterback because everybody's got opinion, you know what I mean? Yeah. In town, but I mean, I've been hero, zero in a 1 week basis, you know what I mean? And so you learn how to deal with criticism, and it makes you tough. It helps you deal with stuff, and so that's the biggest thing is just learning how to deal with all that.
Okay, awesome. So, at what point did you decide football? Is it done? Did you play all 4 years and say I'm not going to finish, or what happened that pushed you to start the business?
Yeah, so I got my AA, and so I was at a junior college, and basically I realized like I was going to get some small like D2 scholarships and stuff like that after I left the junior college.
Which is pretty cool. That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. It's cool, but at that point I kind of got to the point where it's like, look, I'm going to have to be perfect. I'm a 6-foot guy. I was at my peak 175. I could run around, make plays. I was super accurate, but I knew there was a slim chance of me making the league. Like I had buddies that were going to do it. I had to work overly hard to be really good at football. It didn't just come natural. Like there's some people I know, they've never lifted a weight in their life, and they go out there and they're just unreal. And I wish I was like that, but unfortunately I never was. But I was always really good or solid, But what I realized is like, man, like business is what I need to be focusing in. Like I don't want to play football as a hobby anymore. I'm not 19 years old. I'm not 20 years old anymore. I'm 22. I'm literally a grown man. I have no money. I got to figure something out. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and transfer back to University of Houston. It'll give me an opportunity to, work remote. I know people in Houston. I was like, man, maybe I can probably network. I can go back and live with my mom. I literally slept on my mom's couch for a year. And I was like, I'm just going to save up everything. Then I'll get an apartment in Houston, figure everything out.
Where's your mom living?
She lives in Kemah.
In Kemah, okay.
Yeah, so she lives in Kemah. And so moved back, and I was going to go to U of H. Got to U of H. At orientation, the counselor or whatever already knew my name, which kind of scared me. I was like, why does she know my name? And it's because none of my credits transferred. So I was, I was literally supposed to be a senior, and it went back to literally like, hey, so like you're a senior on paper, but at U of H you're a freshman. And I'm like, wait, what? So y'all waited until I got accepted. We did the whole like entrance and everything, and so
that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It was crazy. I was like, well, this was a complete waste of time. So I tried to go for a semester, and they wouldn't accept any of my credits. But anyways, I got into solar and just started moving up and focusing on it.
You started doing sales?
Yep. Immediately got into sales.
Did you know somebody, or why did you even pick solar? Or, I mean, obviously sales because you had some a pass with it.
Yeah. So no, I knew nobody that was in solar at all. I mean, as far as Texas, I mean, I don't know for people listening. I mean, there's not many people. Now it's growing, but there was nobody I knew in solar. Like, I wish I had some cool connection. I wish someone in my family knew someone. They didn't at all. You know what I mean? My first week, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I need to make money. I'm Ubering all around Houston trying to make money. In between rides, what I would do is I was like, I need to make $100,000. That's my goal. I was like, I'm in sales. That's what I wanted to be in. And I was like, I got a knack for it. I got to figure out a good vehicle to do it. And so I applied to jobs literally between rides. I got like a couple of interviews, interviewed the following week, got a job in sales, and then I was off to the races.
What was that like, that transition? Full-time sales. I mean, if you sell, you make money. If you don't, I guess you're not, right?
Yeah. No, actually, I mean, it's instinctive, man, because, I mean, that's how I was in football. You get, I obviously wasn't getting paid, but you get rewarded for the value you bring.
That you can talk about.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That's true. But now, like, but yeah, no, absolutely. Like, sales-wise is you got to produce to succeed. And so it's a good setup for running your own business and everything like that. But yeah, got into sales and moved into management and director and VP and just kept moving up.
So at the beginning, did you realize I'm going to maybe start my own solar company, or I'm going to just see where this goes in this company?
No, so I mean, I didn't think I was going to start necessarily a solar company. I knew eventually I wanted to own my own business. I didn't know what it was. The first thing I needed to focus on is getting in the right vehicle that can give me the opportunity to learn the things so I can get there. You know what I mean? It was always, to me, I always felt like it was inevitable to eventually get a situation that really works and it's great. But I knew like the first step was really just learning and putting things to action. You can read books all day and they're great, but if you're not taking any action, you're not going to get anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you started putting it in action. What pushed you to, hey, I'm going to start the MittGroup and I'm going to go out on my own? And that was, you said, right before the pandemic.
Yeah. So I had the company I was working for, I'd moved up a bunch. And at that point, I got offered like a VP of sales role, and I was going to run sales for the entire company. So however many people we had, 60, 70, 80 people, sales reps directly I was going to be responsible for. And I kind of realized I was kind of outgrowing the business that I was working for, the company. And I kind of just started, like, I was like, man, I just have a knack for it. And there were some operational things that I didn't care for. And I felt like the people that are working there weren't getting paid as much as they could. And I just felt like there were certain different things that I feel like I could have made a bigger impact if I was able to run, because I had a goal of having a really good culture and a really good environment that could give people the best opportunity to succeed. And I was going back and forth. I kept asking all these different people advice. And a lot of people was like, this is a great opportunity, Grant, keep it.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And they were right. They weren't wrong. But it's weird. I always say trust your instincts. I had this like weird gut feeling. I couldn't sleep. I'm like, something tells me you need to do it. Like, you have to. And I remember I asked someone, they said, well, Grant, if you keep getting that, you need to do it. You need to do it. And I was like, you know what? I can get a solar job at this point anywhere. If I completely fail and it's whatever, I lose all the money I started in it. It is what it is. You know what? I did this in a year. I was on my mom's couch literally almost 2 years ago prior to that. I'm like, can't get worse than that. Honestly, the couch was pretty comfy.
Yeah, it's not that bad, really.
I was like, you know what I mean? And I'm sure my mom will move in, you know what I mean? And then I'll get another job. So I'm like, man, I will be fine. There's another job waiting on me. So I'm just going to say, you know what? Like, let's jump. Let's make it happen. The worst thing that happens is I go get another sales job or a management job in another month or two, and I knew I'll figure it out. But I don't want to think back 5 years from now and going, dang, I should have freaking done it.
What if?
You know what I mean? And so I took the leap.
Okay, so Business Insider listed 5 different things, how you got from that place, saved up money, and were able to start your business. Can we go through those 5?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then later I want to ask, how did Business Insider just reach out to you? I'm just interested in that. That's really cool.
Yeah, they just reached out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I just put a bunch of stuff out there, and she saw something, looked up, and wanted to do an article, I guess. So
cool. That's awesome. So the first one that they list is you need to find a job that fits your needs.
Yep. Okay. So this is the best way I could put that one is you got to pick the right vehicle. If you want to do anything business or entrepreneurial, or you want to do well financially, stop focusing on this like perfect little fantasy land of, oh, this is, this makes me feel good, or this is my dream, or this is what I'm good at. Instead, like at first solar was not my passion to start with.
Yeah.
I never woke up one day and was like, man, I have a passion of selling solar panels. Now I'm passionate about it because I've learned about what it can do and helping people. But the first thing is, if you're in the wrong vehicle, if me and Gardy have a race tomorrow, all right, and let's say I'm the best driver ever, and Gardy's like solid, right? But Gardy's like, you know what? I'm racing Grant. I'm going to get a Ferrari, and I go out and I get a Honda. No matter how good of a driver I am, Gardy is going to blow me out of the water. Why? Now, is there a chance he could wreck? Yep. Is there a chance he could have engine failure? Absolutely. But I'd much rather risk engine failure with a Ferrari than a Honda if I'm racing someone.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing is pick an industry, job, sector, or business that if you succeed at a high level, you have a unbelievably high earning potential and you have a chance to do really well. There's a chance that you may not do well in anything. You might as well pick a right vehicle.
And sales has a lot of upside.
Yeah.
Really, because it just depends on how well you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I can control it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I could fail, but I also knew I could be really successful. And so that gave me an opportunity where, like, I couldn't go get a 6-figure job at 22, 23 years old. Like, I just knew it's too difficult, just salary. But I know that a company would pay me that much if I could bring them that much value. Because if I'm making that, the company's making a heck of a lot of money too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Okay, so the second one, you didn't increase spending, and that seems like it would be hard for me, for most people.
Yeah. Right? I learned my lesson when I was in California. I was first in sales. If I had $1,000, I had $1,000 to spend. I mean, I was as dumb as can be. Luckily, I'm not like that now. But yeah, what I did is I was like, man, I have to save money. So it's hard to save your way to money. Save your way to wealth. So you got to save and invest it. And, just spending money on stuff that isn't going to pay you and isn't going to make you money is just not going to work. So, and like I said, I had a goal of getting out. So, especially in the short term, especially when you don't have a lot of capital and you need to invest it, you spending money on unnecessary amount of shoes and clothes and trips and this is only going to slow everything down because you don't have the buying capital to be able to go, oh yeah, this trip is no big deal. These shoes are no big deal. You can do that when you're wealthy, when you make a lot of money. But when you're starting off, you need every dollar that you can to save and invest it. So stay humble, you know what I mean? So I stayed on the couch for a year and then just saved every single month.
Yeah. Okay. So number 3 says separate your money into different pots.
Yeah. So I'm very like I'm naturally would be a spender. I like nice things. So what I do is I like kind of control the psychology of it. So like let's say you get paid, let's say $5,000, right, in a month. The second that hits your account, if you're W-2, the taxes are already separated. But if you're 1099, then you have to separate the taxes. So immediately I put the taxes 30% into the tax account, right? Next, figure out what your operating costs are on like whatever, like let's say you get paid biweekly. Figure out what your operating costs is on a biweekly basis. Immediately, let's say it's out of that $5,000. Let's say taxes. Okay, so tax would be $1,500 on that. So that would be what, $2,500 left?
I don't know. I'm not good at math. I was going to ask you after this. I was like, you must be good at math.
30, okay, there we go. $3,500. So you take away. Okay, so you got $5,000. $1,500 goes to taxes, right? So you got $3,500 now. Let's say you need $1,000 for operating expenses. That means immediately, okay, I haven't spent a dime yet. That $2,500, I'm immediately moving to my savings account, right? So the money that I have and I operate with is that $1,000 for that 2 weeks. Now you do whatever you want, you eat whatever you want, but it's got to be within that $1,000. That savings money that you put in there is not, almost look at it as not even yours, right? And every penny, first save up 10 grand, so you have a security blanket. You could lose your job tomorrow. You're still good on rent, 3, 4, 5 months, whatever it is. But once you get over that 10 grand limit, every single amount needs to be allocated and invested and controlled. So it needs to be like a machine. Now, let's say you, instead of 5 grand, now you make 10 grand. Perfect. Now you could up your operating costs. You may want to do it to 2K over that 2 weeks span or the 30-day span or whatever it is. That's fine. But focus on saving and investing even more, especially on the short term. And what you do is you do that early. You got to pay yourself first, because now I'm not thinking, oh, I got 5,000. No, that's not money for you. That's to grow you and your business and your family, and maybe you want to buy a house or whatever. You're ready for it. You know what I mean? So you're controlling your expenses the second it hits your account.
So you look at your checking and it says, hey, I still got the same amount that I had even when I was making $5,000 a month. Yeah. Now I'm making 10. But you still live that same lifestyle too.
In a way, like I hate to say it, but stay broke. Like I trick myself even to this day. Like I literally I leave so little money in my checking account except for operating costs because I'm tricking myself to thinking I don't have money. So I'm working more for it, and it makes sure that I can't go spend and buy stupid stuff. You know what I mean? So even to this day, now I allow myself to spend more money because I'm making more income, but at the same time, I'm not just doing all this, crazy stuff just because I make a little bit more money now.
But imagine how good your life would be if you were.
It would just
short
term.
Yeah,
short term. You know what I mean? It's quick on the way up. It's even quicker on the way down. So like you got to invest that money. You got to invest it every chance you get, especially short term.
Okay, so the next one, you opened a brokerage account and you invested.
Yeah.
How did you find, I guess, good investments, solid investments, and what did you choose?
So I started Robinhood. First thing is, I think investing, I'm not a master at it yet, but I'm getting pretty good at it, it's honestly a lot of common sense. I mean, no matter what you say, no matter what your political views are, it doesn't matter. We know our electric vehicles probably going to be bigger in 10 years than they are now.
Yes.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 3-4 years ago, people thought Tesla wouldn't even stay a company, would go bankrupt. And now they have almost a $900 billion valuation. It's happening. So no matter what you think, electric vehicles are coming. It's going to be a thing. No matter what you think, probably solar is going to get bigger than it is right now, right? Now they're doing all this stuff with space travel and stuff. It's going to be a thing. Like, we will probably, by the time our kids will be able to probably travel to the moon. It sounds crazy right now, but it will probably happen. Like, it is inevitable. Unless something crazy happens, like, it is trending towards that direction. For example, Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff, when they first became companies and they were growing in MySpace, it was evident that probably social media was going to be a thing, especially when everyone has internet directly on their phone. Like, it's obvious, right? Mm-hmm. So look at trends. One thing I do is, like, study the market. Basically, like, just as simple as getting on Yahoo Finance or getting on Bloomberg or getting on Wall Street Journal and just read. Look at the news. See what companies are doing this. See this company's merging. This company's going public. It's obvious. Like, I think Jeff Bezos says, like, when I started investing in companies that change people's lives, everything changed for me. Like things that are really moving the way people live and operate, it's just obvious. You know what I mean? Like pandemic hit. Isn't it obvious that we were probably going to use Zoom more?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so the people invested in Zoom made like 400% because it's obvious. Like obviously, we're going to need to Zoom more because we can't see people in person. You see how simple it is? So it's like simplifying things and then understanding the markets. You can get on YouTube and get all these different things and you can learn a heck of a lot too. But a lot of it's just common sense and practice. And honestly, like be willing to lose stuff. I mean, who cares if you lose 10, 15%, you were going to go buy some shoes with it anyways. You were going to go to freaking Cabo with your friends. You were going to go somewhere. At least learn and develop. And you can, if you mess up on that side, okay, cool. You can sell and move your money in something else. And then eventually what happens is you mess up enough, you start getting kind of decent. You know what I mean?
You mess up and do something good.
You mess up and do something good. Exactly. Yeah. So it's like one of those things, I'd say.
So it's pretty interesting the way you did it. So you had like, hey, I got this 10,000 that's saved in case something comes up.
Yeah.
Then after that, I can put away some portions to start saving, maybe invest with this, save this in, rainy day fund. Yeah. And this is what I need to live off of. Yeah. So you separate in the different pots so that way you can still play with the money as in investing.
Yep.
And then still have a backup just in case something goes.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So I control it because I know I like nice things, but if I can control it and systemize it, then it's going to help me be more disciplined.
Okay. And then number 5, save to cover your expenses. Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
So that was for starting the business, but even in general. So like I always tell people, create leverage in your life. So like a lot of people right now, for the most part, I'm sure we have some people that own and operate businesses, but majority of the workforce in the United States, they are working for someone in a company. And I'm not telling people to everyone go start a business, because sometimes it's better to be an entrepreneur and work for a really great company, really great leader. And, like Steve Ballmer, Microsoft, he was the 30 or 35th employee hired at Microsoft. Now he owns the Clippers. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, as great as a business person he is, I doubt he was going to create something like Microsoft. So sometimes being a part of a really good thing is good. But I always talk about creating leverage in your life. Opportunities are going to come. Like there will be a point in time for every single person that's listening where like this unbelievable career opportunity comes up, or business opportunity or something. Don't be the guy or girl that isn't ready for it. So the opportunity is like, hey, we can move here. Oh, but I haven't been saving for the last 5 years. Oh, that's a big risk. What if I don't make a lot? Or you get an opportunity to start a company. You haven't saved a dime for 5 years, and you have the best opportunity in the world right in front of you, multi-million-dollar idea, and you're not ready for it because you didn't save and you didn't have money ready to go. So create leverage in your life, and never be at the mercy of, and I even tell this to my people, it's like never be at the mercy of someone. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be times, unfortunately, when less people will buy solar. For example, January is typically a lower month for whatever reason, just like in retail. So yeah, you can still be successful, but you need to be saving and investing so you're walking into appointments fully confident and not in fear that I need to make money. You feel confident, you feel at peace because you've prepared and you have leverage and you have money, not because you're rich or because you make all this money, but because you're smart and disciplined with your money. So just create leverage with everything you do because it gives you the opportunity to make decisions, and that's the most important part.
In Texas, with us having that freeze, did that kind of help your business a bit?
So, I mean, that week it didn't, because, I mean, the whole company was just shut down for a week. But after, yes. So the full week, 75% of my workforce was like literally no power, no nothing. But that next following week, I mean, like,
dude, I told him you got to get solar. What are you doing? You got solar.
It's exactly right. Like literally as I'm sitting here, I've probably gotten like 50 leads of like people just sending information to get solar. So sorry I haven't called you guys, or sorry our team hasn't called you guys. We'll get to it in a second.
So we got to end this so we can go make some money, get back to it, right?
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, so but yeah, it boomed. Like last week was crazy. We're in unbelievable amount of appointments a day. We have tons today. So yeah, tons of people are interested in thinking about solar because of it, and it makes complete sense.
Okay, so there's one final thing I think that we definitely need to talk about.
Yeah.
That's like your personal goal. So you you started your business. It's all laid out in Business Insider. It's really awesome to read. So make sure you go check it out.
Yeah.
Does it stop there? Are you happy? Say, hey, I got my business. Just let it naturally grow. See what it does. Are you setting goals still? And what's the plan?
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah. So still a lot of things to work on. So I'm trying to scale the solar company like nationwide for sure. We need to this year 3 to 4 times what we did in sales last year. As far as not only that, but we're going to grow that company, grow it as much as possible. And I'm also starting a blockchain company. We're going to do crypto mining, which is crazy.
I did that like 3 or 4 years ago through a company, and it was a great investment. It turns out, yeah.
No, it's awesome.
But that one shut down, so I'm going to have to check yours out.
Yeah. So we're gonna do we're gonna mine like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're gonna have like warehouses. I'm gonna have warehouses full of tons of machines that are just mining this stuff. It's unbelievable technology. So that might be the big deal, the big break. But the biggest thing is, like I talked about vehicles, like I'm utilizing these 2 vehicles now. The crypto thing that's gonna be starting will be operational about 2 to 3 weeks, and then continue to develop and grow the solar company so our people do well and so we continue to grow. But it's also going to lead to other things. So once we develop those things, it's just going to lead to another opportunity. I always say there's $1 billion idea. It'll come. Like there will be some type of investor. I'll meet some type of person, but I promise you I'm going to be ready for it because I'm not going to get cocky. I'm going to stay humble. I know I can lose it all and not that much time, knock on wood. But that's kind of freeing because it lets you become fearless and it helps you prepare for it. Because like I said, the opportunities will come. And then that's when we'll have more businesses and more ideas and stuff like that.
How about you on a personal level, like as far as like your net worth? Is there any goals you have?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to get over 7 figures and stuff like that. But I mean, just the biggest thing, I mean, that's great. More so I just want to make a bigger impact. You know what I mean? Help. More so that is if you can focus more on helping other people around you become really, really successful financially, I promise you'll be all right. You know what I mean? So the main thing right now is just really developing these companies, making sure everyone that works in the organization and just is around or friends with it could be listening and stuff like that, you know, I can give them at least like something that I've learned along the way. Because I tell people all the time, like, I wish I could tell you some secret sauce. I wish I could tell you that I knew somebody and all this kind of stuff. It's not true at all. I just mess up so many times. I'm slowly starting to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And I still mess up daily. So it's just more so focusing on that.
And you have a podcast that just started. Yeah. How can somebody find it? What's it called, and what are you talking about?
Yeah, so it's called the Grant Mitt Podcast. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So yeah, I'm on episode 3 right now. So I guess episode 4 will be on Friday. But yeah, just simple like business, mindset, psychology, a lot of stuff that we talked about here. But yeah, just stuff like that. And so anything, and it can be anybody. Like you don't have to be starting a business. You don't have to be in sales. Just like strategy and how to kind of win in life and be able to make it happen.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to share this morning?
No, I think that's it. I appreciate you having me on. Anybody that's watching it, if you guys are interested in solar and stuff like that, we'll be more than happy. I'll do like for anybody that is listening that sends in stuff online, we'll give you guys a $1,000 rebate. Basically, like we'll cover, I don't know how many payments that is. That's anywhere from 6 to 12 months of basically free solar that will literally, like after you guys installed, we'll cut you a check for $1,000. Just tell our sales rep or our team that I sent you from the radio. So we'll do that for anybody interested. And other than that,
that's awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I may have to take you up on that myself.
There you go. There you go.
All right. Thank you for joining. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. All right. Hey, Facebook, again, feel free to share this out. If you have any questions, you can ask. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Y'all be blessed.